instructed to lick. They were supposed to lick their brushes to give them a fine point, and that's how they ended up taking in a lot of that radium. And that's just, it's crazy when you think about it. Like we talked about earlier about people, not knowing about the effects of radiation, or not caring. But you know, it's wild that they were literally telling them, just put this radioactive stuff in your mouth so that we can make this product better. And their exposure to radium, no, excuse me, their exposure to radium caused serious health effects, which included sores, anemia, and bone cancer. This is because the body treats radium as calcium and deposits it in the bones, where radioactivity degrades marrow and can mutate bone cells. And so that was just a little tidbit, little story that I saw that I couldn't quite figure out how to fit in, but I just wanted to mention it because when I saw it, I'd heard about it, and actually they made a movie about it right before the pandemic started, or right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I think it kind of got lost in there, and it's called The Radium Girls, and it's about this whole issue, and I kind of want to check it out because it's a pretty interesting story when you think about it. And now it's time for the roundup. And we're going to round it up. X-rays were discovered in 1895 by Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen. He discovered it by accident. He named them X-rays to underline the fact that their nature was unknown. Radium, in the form of radium chloride, was discovered by Marie and Pierre Curie in 1898 from ore mined in the Czech Republic. There were many trials and errors before safety procedures get implemented. Technological advances have seen the process go from glass plates to film to digital. Things I didn't know before. And now I know them. Never heard of these things. What are they? Okay, so the things I didn't know before is going to operate a little bit different this time, but not that different. I ended up, of course, like I said, I didn't know any of this stuff, so all of this is things that I didn't know before. But I decided I would ask some questions, or I would mention the questions that I've asked myself, and see if I could get them answered, and then just put them in this segment. But I do have, there's one also that one thing I didn't know before to kind of keep it classic. But the first question, there's only two of them. The first question is, are X-rays dangerous? And so I looked this up, just a straight up Google question. I'm trying to see what I can bring back from that. And basically Google says that being exposed to X-rays does carry a risk of causing cancer many years or decades later. But this is thought to be very small. An X-ray of your chest, limbs, or teeth is equivalent to a few days' worth of background radiation. And, that's cool, but I don't really know what background radiation is. I know what background noise is, right? I know what a background is, but I don't know what background radiation is. But second question, what is the difference between chemotherapy and radiation? Because when I was doing this, I was realizing I was just, there's so many different types of radiation, and then sometimes radiation is used for good. And so I was just like, well, so what is the difference? And so good old Google tells us that though chemo and radiation both attack cancer cells, they work in different ways. Chemotherapy drugs circulate in your bloodstream, and they kill or shrink cancer cells anywhere in your body, not just the site where the primary cancerous tumor starts. Because these drugs pass through your whole system, they're called systemic. Radiation treatment uses invisible bursts of energy instead of drugs. In addition, it is usually a localized treatment that aims energy beams just at the area where cancer cells actually grow. So, boom, there's your answer, kind of, pretty much. So I definitely didn't know any of that before, and I would have just assumed that all radiation is bad radiation or all radiation is good radiation, but you see, it's not all one thing. And the last one, I kind of mentioned this quickly in the actual topic segment, but it's that radium was used for what was thought to have health benefits for like a fleeting moment before everybody realized that was just not. Like as far as just ingesting it. So radium was also used in things like radium water, and at places like spas, people would go and take baths in radium water, and you can only imagine what happened after a while. And this was stopped after people learned that was not such a good idea. All right. That's been another episode of How Did That Happen? HDTH. Always glad when you guys stop by and press play and come along for the ride and find out how things happen with me. I will say I tried to reach out and tried to get a guest for this. It's all new, and I shot my shot pretty big. I mean, I was trying to get anybody that worked on that movie, The Radium Girls, and maybe, I don't know if it was just the time thing. I haven't heard back yet, but I didn't give them that much time, so we'll see. I am trying to expand this stuff, and we'll see what happens in the future. I will say one last bit of news about me is I have finally started to watch the John Wick movies. If anybody is interested, I've always known they existed. I just never actually sat down and took the time. I will say they're pretty good. I'm about halfway through the third one now. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting set of movies they got there. So that's all we got going on over here. Once again, thank you for stopping by and pressing play. I'll see you guys next week.